Welcome to the weekly review, dubious speculation for this week. Um, let's look at Bitcoin and let's see what's going on with Bitcoin. Last week, we start with from the monthly chart, and last week we were kind of expecting the price to go higher because of this candle. We're expecting it to go higher. And we've done that. As you can see here on the MACD is still below zero, um, and more likely going to expand to the downside. Um, this this candle here, the only way it's eroded is we close above it on a monthly chart. Maybe we do, maybe we don't. I'm not expecting that to happen. I don't think so. We may poke above it and poke into the 82 or 83K, poke into it, but then quickly sell off back below it would be what I would expect. If we step it down to the weekly chart, you can see on the weekly chart, what you've done is you've come to the 21 EMA and SMA combo. And I think there's a lot of resistance here, and it will be very hard for us to actually break through it. This candle here, you can see here, this selling candle here, that selling candle there is a resistance candle, which is holding the market at the moment. And if we're lucky, we might be able to break up and come to this point here with this 86K. So that is if we're lucky. Um, so I think this is looking weak, and this is more likely to two options go down from here, come back here, and come back down. Whichever way it goes, there's not really a lot of a move in it. 80, 75 to 86. It's not neither here nor there. And if you bring it even to the 4-hour chart, what you can see on the 4-hour chart is you've got so we're breaking down, and you can see there's a breakdown here. So, we've had some good divergences here, here to there, here to there. Um, it's a divergence in play, and chances are you probably either maybe take liquidity up or go slightly higher, which will take you maybe to the 82K, somewhere there, and you cascade to the downside. So that would be the best case scenario, is maybe a liquidity hunt that goes slightly higher and then come back down on the 4-hour chart. So the coming back down is more likely after maybe a small move to the upside. Now, what we are tracking is to expect that we come down and violate this 50 SMA, violate it a little bit, mm, maybe to, and this candle is a candle of interest for me here. Maybe we come all the way up to 42K. Maybe we come into the middle, which will give us somewhere around 52K, because we've already come to the top of the candle. So the next logical step will be the middle of it, which is around the 52, 53K. So that's what I'll be expecting anyway in the coming weeks, to come on Bitcoin. Now let's move on and look at some of the coins that we are interested in to see what's going to happen. Let's start with Fetch, and you can see that Fetch BTC is also had a good move, and we're taking some liquidity off the back of it. So you can see the RSI did not actually cross. It didn't cross. So most likely probability very similar to this candle here, where you didn't cross, and guess what? You went up slightly and then cascaded the downside. So best case scenario, we'll push up a little bit, maybe to about maybe there, and then cascade to the downside. Or we might just continue going down from here, form a divergence, and that would be beautiful for a big move to the upside. Um, I want to quickly look at Bitcoin dominance. So Bitcoin dominance is it's trying to break out. It's not proving itself yet, but it's trying. Um, if it closes like this, then chances are it's going to go higher first before coming down. So that's another worrying sign for altcoins as well. Um, so let's then go and look at Rari, one of our coins, see what's going on there. Uh, so And we go on the monthly chart on Rari, you can see we've had a big pump and now obviously we've dumped quickly. I think this probably will end up closing green by the end of the month. And what we do is you'll probably tend to get a small wick to the downside, maybe 2.10, 0.09, something like that. And then you'll be back up going the other way. So that's Rari. The weekly chart mm, very likely closes green as well. Uh, Closes green with a very, very tiny body like we had here, like we had on this candle. And then you might end up going slightly lower and then slightly lower and then go up. So that's Rari. It's looking good. I mean the MACD is already above zero. You have a sink as well here as well. We've got a sink on it. So anything will be a small pullback and then continue the journey to the upside. So Rari looking good for accumulation. IMIX, let's look at IMIX here. So IMIX is also on the weekly chart looking good. I like the MACD. It's already ticked above. The fast MACD is already ticked, and this low is already joined it. So this is looking good. I think we'll probably close the week green, which means worst case scenario, you might come down a little bit slightly, maybe zero point 0.10, zero point 0.10, zero point 0.09, anywhere there, maybe zero point 0.08. It's possible. You could do that. Sweep the lows, sweep this part of any stop losses that might be sitting there, and it'd be a great opportunity to buy as you're sweeping the stop losses. So anything below here will be a good buy for me on IMIX for a bigger move all the way back to maybe a minimum of about zero point 0.4, zero point 0.5 would be what we see here. So it's looking good. You've got your sync as well on it as well. And I think it will stay sync because this will stay green. And then next week you may get a very small pull to the downside, like something like this one here. So, like something like this candle here, you have this candle and then guess what? You pull down a little bit before, but you should expect all the bottom part here up to maybe even point 0.8, zero point 0.7 is a sweep area for liquidity. So that's only something to worry about, to watch, not worry, but watch. Filecoin, let's look at Filecoin. So Filecoin as well, looking good on the weekly chart. I think we'll close green on the week as well, which means most likely we will end up with a small sweep of the sweep. So we can have a sweep. So you could have a small move back to the downside, maybe 0.6, 0.5. Will be a great place to pick up some of this for a bigger move to the upside. I think the move will take us somewhere there, about 180, 170, 180. And if it gets really, really strong, like you had here, you could end up somewhere down here around $4. So that's what we see on Filecoin. Another one good for accumulation. And then let's look at render. So render is had this big move on the monthly chart. So we had a very big move. It went higher, and I think you're cascading down now. If we bring it to the weekly, yeah, we are cascading to the downside. So, it's very probable that, you'll end up cascading to the downside back to these lows here, back to somewhere on these lows, 120, 126, or even go slightly lower. Any price between somewhere, any price in this zone here it's a liquidity sweep and it'll be a great place to buy render. So good for accumulation when it gets to those levels. Let's move on to Injective. Injective is also one of our coins we like. And you can see here on this weekly chart, we expect, yeah, the weekly chart will close green as well. We have a sync on it. So, they probably will do a liquidity sweep again. So you could get a liquidity sweep all the way back up to 1.7 is possible. That will be a liquidity sweep, great for buying some more and accumulating some more for a potential move back up to about, $8, maybe overshoot it to maybe $9, $10. So that is that is injective as well. And then we've got last one is we've got Ave. So Ave is looking good to me. We've had this pump on the week, and as you can see, I think we'll still close green this week. Very, very tiny body candle. Then you end up going slightly lower, and then you get your move back up to the upside. So it's also good for accumulating, starting to accumulate once you get below these prices here around the $86. And then we go to Hyperliquid. So a hype is probably one of the strongest coins I see because, it's got a very strong monthly candle. I think this month will close green, strong green. You may end up coming all the way back down to about $36 before you go up. So something to watch. Yeah, definitely it can easily come all the way back to, $36, come and retest this point, get support, and then you get your bigger move to the upside. So that's hype. Let's move on to the next one. Fat coin. So fat coin is looking good. I like what I'm seeing. So again, it's green. I think we'll close green again, but I think there is a liquidity sweep that can happen on the bottom side here, so beware of that. We could have that liquidity sweep where it kind of comes back down again to about 12, 10, 11, and then you'll be back up going the other way. So that's a fat coin. Let's look at comp briefly as well. So comp is also going to close green this week. So it's going to close green. We've got our sync already. We've got the MACD already crossed on the fast. The slow is about to join. So I think this looks good. You may end up coming back to maybe, back to these bases here, to about $16. It's possible you get back to $16 before you go, or maybe to about $18 before you go and challenge some of these higher prices take you all the way back to maybe 45, $45. So that is what we see on comp accumulation period is open, I think, for spot. And then let's look at this bio coin as well. So bio is also going to close green on the week. And I think when it closes green, you can expect it will probably dump back down again to somewhere here, back to these lows around the 0.018, somewhere there. Between here and here, you can expect price to come back into, or it can go slightly lower, and then you get your move to the upside. So bio is also looking good. I like it. And I think the last one is ICP, which we haven't looked at. So ICP. So ICP is also going to likely close green as well, with 3 weeks in a row of green. I think there's a liquidity sweep likely to happen on this coin as well. Very likely, you get back to these lows again, 216, maybe go slightly lower, $2, $1.90, somewhere there, or 80 will be a cleanup. And then you'll be back on your way all the way back up to $4 and slightly higher, even all the way up to here, which would be like $7 or $8. So it's accumulation is open as well on this one as well. So these are all sport accumulation, not leverage trading. This is sport. So, you buy some and you you sit pretty and you just wait for the bigger move. You get your doubling or tripling, and that's an easier trade. So that's all I've got in terms of crypto. I wish you all the best and God bless. Tata.